Hey there folks. So we have an animation source now and we have an animation blueprint which is making determined decisions on whether we should be idle and potentially in the future other animations. What I'd like to do now is actually set up a character, something that we can place here into the world to be able to see these happening on, because at the moment there is no preview window available in the PaperZD animation blueprint plugin, which means I can't really see when I'm transitioning from one to the other and how that works. So we're going to make a character. Now, I could go into here and I could go, okay, well, let's keep my warrior character inside of this warriors folder, and that would be fine, that would work. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to approach this as if I was building a much bigger kind of game with more concepts, more things added in. So for example, if I'm looking at this tiny kind of towers enemy thing that I've got loads of different enemies. Do I want to create a new character for every single one of those and remake new content, remake new functionality for attacking and moving and tracing and finding the character and so on? If I've got multiple player characters, because at the moment we've got a warrior, but there's also archers and monks and things like that. What if I have different characters and different classes that I can play as? Do I want to have to keep on remaking all the input functionality? Probably not. So rather than building that stuff in here into my assets folder, I'm going to create a new folder here and we'll call this one core or framework or base. And in here, I'm going to create a new folder. And this seems like a lot of folders, but we're going to keep things organized from the start. I'll go into here, I'll create one called blueprints. That's where all of my blueprints are going to be. And in the future, it'll have things like my game mode, my controllers. It's going to have things like my pickups and my components. And inside of here, I'm going to create a new folder and we'll call this one characters. There we go. So creating a character. If we right click and go to blueprint class, there is a character class here. But remember, if you've used this one before, this is a child of the pawn. And what it adds in is it adds in a character movement component. So it allows us to do things like the walking, running, jumping, and even crouch and flying and such. But it also adds in a skeletal mesh, a 3D. So what I definitely don't want to do is start with the 3D one and have to basically have a 3D skeletal mesh that's not rendering and not there. Instead, what I want to do is I want to go down here into the all classes. So remember, you can press this little button to expand this out and search for character. And what you'll see, there's actually a long inheritance hierarchy here where it goes through and says, okay, well, let's start at actor, which everything is. Then we go down to pawn. So these are things that we can possess, take control of, pass inputs from our controller to. Then we have our character, which we've just said has the character movement component and the skeletal mesh. And then we also have a new child of that called paper character. And the real difference that happens in this paper character, and in fact I will just create one of those just to show you, this is just a template just because I want to show you the differences of these, is that the character one that we're looking at there is a paper one, and it actually changes the skeletal mesh component, the 3D element, into a flipbook component. Now under that, we have another one which has been added by the PaperZD plugin called a PaperZD character. Now that's the one that we're actually going to want to have. We're going to have that PaperZD character. But I just want to show you the difference between these two. So actually, let's just go with these names just so I can show you the difference. And I know that this is not really essential. You could just make the PaperZD one. That would be fine. But I want to show you why these two things are different from each other. So the 2D one and the ZD one, if I just go between the two tabs, what you should see is that there's only one thing really on this screen. There's some details obviously that changes, but there's only one thing that really is changing on here, and that is the fact that this one adds in this animation component, the PaperZD animation component. And that's really important because basically it's made a new character, a new Paper 2D character type, and just said that by default the PaperZD character automatically has, and if I just go and search for it and search for PaperZD, it already automatically has this PaperZD animation component. Now that's great because that means that in the future you might go back to a Paper 2D character kind of system that you've been building, and you could add the PaperZD logic on top of it. And you could say, actually don't use this logic anymore, I want you to be able to use the animation blueprints, and you can update it to use that. Or even better is you can make individual actors, so things like doors and switches and interactive elements in your level, and you can use the logic of the animation blueprints for changing between the different states to say, well, let's use a paper ZD animation and say, well, when we interact with the door is now open. And we can use the flipbook kind of animation blueprint system to change that. So we will come back in the future and we will probably add a paper ZD animation component onto other elements in our game world in order to make them have their animations. So I don't need the paper 2D one. I just wanted to show you the differences with those two. And I'm actually going to delete that, get rid of it now, and we'll come back to this one here. So we've got this BP underscore, and I'm going to go with ZD char, and character, char standing for base, and I'm going to go with base. And I'm just going to start with a base character just to get me started. Why? Well, I'm going to go with this having some kind of inheritance structure that I've got a base character, and I can put components, functionality and logic onto this, things like a health component, weapons, abilities, actions and stuff like that can all be on there. And then from this I can have two child pathways. I can have enemy characters which maybe have AI logic and things that they can do, and also player characters which kind of have things like inputs that determine whether they respond to key presses and what their abilities and actions do. Both of them will share ZD character base, which means they'll all have things like the health components, but then I can start determining the different logic for each one. And then if I do start making different enemy types, for example, goblins, orcs, skeletons and such, they'll all just be variants and child versions of the enemy type, which means by extension they're also the base type. So with this started, we're just going to put this in and get this just actually visualizing and showing all the bits that we need. And then we'll go through and start adding inputs in the future. So how do we actually get this working and running? Well, right now we have this kind of setup which has the collision capsule, which is determining where we are in the world, what we're colliding with. We have an arrow that tells us what is forward, and if with our 2D side scroller that we're going to start with, this is going to be basically determining what is right, what is forward but to the right. We have our animation component, which is going to be for the paper ZD content, and we still have our character movement component for things like walking, running, jumping and so on. So we'll come back to these in the future and we'll really finesse the movement and the jumping of our character by changing some of these values. So what should we change first? Well, the first thing I want to change is this sprite, and I just want to basically get the capsule and the size and everything like that set up and working correctly based on the size and dimensions. Now this is where this is a little bit confusing. It says sprite, it inherits from everything that's come before which uses it as sprite, but annoyingly it's not a sprite, it is a flipbook. So just keep that one in mind. You're not putting a static sprite into here. Instead, you can see it says source flipbook. What flipbook should I be using? And it only shows me flipbooks. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually just getting the warrior idol. And even though I'm not using warrior idol specifically, in the actual kind of content that this sprite here, I'm not using it in the content going forward, it's going to be replaced by the anim BP. It's useful for us because we can go in here now and we can start saying, well, do we need to scale down the sprite? So maybe this sprite needs to be a little bit smaller. Yeah, maybe I want to refine him down. Do I build the capsule bigger? Yeah. So we're playing around with just the size and trying to work out how big our character needs to be right now. Now for this, I'm just going to set him here, but I'm also going to change this to maybe be the, I believe if we go to unlit and go to left, there we go. So here I'm on 1 on my snap size, and what I can do is I can take that sprite and I can move this down. And we have to work out where this is going to go. Now there's a little bit of a problem here, which is that he actually has a shadow underneath him, and one of the things that you'll notice is that by default this flipbook, it has this element 0 material that's assigned to it, and it's using masked unlit. And previously we've looked at this and we've seen where these issues come up. The masked element removes any kind of element of opacity. So in this case, where this character has a shadow underneath him that's kind of see-through, it's losing that. So what I need to do is I need to go and find the translucent unlit one and put that in there. And you can see, look at that, it brings that shadow back for me straight away. Now that's something to think about with our inheritance structure, because that might be something that now every single one of our characters is going to use as their default flipbook material. Now where do I want this guy to go? Do I want him to stand at the bottom of that capsule? Maybe, that might work. And then obviously this is outside of the capsule, and maybe it's projecting down onto the floor, or do I have it go up like that? Now, something to think about is that if this was potentially, a top-down character and we're looking directly down, the shadow might not be too much of a problem. And this shadow here exists because this one is actually designed to be a bit more kind of top-down or angular, where we can see the floor, we can see the world. But something to think about if you are using 2D is that the bottom of the capsule is the bit that is colliding and hitting the floor, hitting the world. So this might be where I need to come into here, move this around a little bit, just getting it so I can see the floor and also see where the feet are. And yeah, let's have a look at what that's looking like. Now, do I need to have this kind of big feathery bit on top? Possibly not, in which case it might be a case of going into the capsule component, editing the capsule half height, editing the capsule radius, and trying to get it to match out for what kind of character we have. So he's quite a chunky, wide character, but maybe he doesn't need to be as tall. So yeah, maybe something like 74 might work a little bit better with him. And then we can go back to that sprite and move the sprite up, and you can see that's a little bit better then, that we're not actually hitting our head on top of things. Now obviously this is designed to work on a kind of a top-down, slightly angled view. In my case, it's not really going to work very well on a 2D, but I'll make this on a different 2D character in a moment just to show you what the variations are going to be. Now I can go here, I can take that character and I can drag them into the world. So let's have a look at what that looks like. Obviously, as we've just said, he's now floating above the world a little bit, which is not so much of an issue for me. I'm going to be okay with that one for now, because really what I'm going to have is he's going to be like this, and I'm going to view him from a different angle, maybe looking down. And maybe what I might need to do is actually edit and change this so that it's running from a different angle. Maybe he's completely flat to the world and I'm looking down at him like this. But we'll look at that in a future video. In a future video, I'll show you how to set up multiple directions on your character so you can move them up, down, left and right, and set them up as a top-down character instead. For now, we're just working on this kind of 2D side-scroller version. Okay, so he's around about the right size. He's got the right collision capsule size and radius. He has the correct size when it comes to his sprite. So what we're going to look at now is, instead of just using the sprite, because the sprite's great, it gives me an indication of how he works. What I need to look at now is going into the animation component, the one that's the Paper ZD one. And if I look inside of here, you'll see that there's a bunch of different options in terms of what Paper ZD animation blueprint this should use. So we go down to the Paper ZD section, and you can see right now it says anim instance class none. Well, that means that right now there is no animation blueprint assigned to this. So what I need to do is I need to look in here, and you can see I've actually got there's an existing one that's there, but I've also got this ABPZD warrior, the one that I created. Now, does this change anything if I was to change him from run? Well, no, it's not going to change that. But if I was to play this in the game, and I probably won't be able to see this here because I'm just flying off somewhere random and possessing this guy. I'm all the way over here. That's probably why I can't find that. Where's my player start? Let's drag this player start in all the way over here. And in a future video, we will set this up. So this is the character we're looking at. But remember, this is all set to lumen. So right now, when we start, no, sorry, not set to lumen. So we've got no illumination, no global illumination. We can't see any of these bits. So that's why I've turned my player start around, just so I can see these. And you can see, I can see those sprites. I can see what they look like. Even though we've got no global illumination, even though we've got no lighting going on, I can see them because the sprites are unlit. But there you go. You can see what he's doing. And when he starts using the animation blueprint to determine what state he should be in. In this case, obviously, that's our idle animation. So even though he's set to loop on the run, he's instead going to use the idle animation. Now, the last little thing I'll just show you in here is that there is the render component reference. And you can see I can expand that out there. And it asks me which one of all these components that are over here is the one that should be targeted by this animation blueprint. Which is the one that whenever we're changing these states and changing these elements, are we changing? So by default, it goes to sprite, the one that I've said is actually a flipbook. But that's important to know because it means that in another blueprint, you could come in here and add in the animation component Paper ZD animation element, and you can target a specific flipbook. You could say, okay, well, this flipbook inside of here, this is the one that's being targeted by this animation instance. Okay, so that is our character setup. At the moment, we're not in control of them. We can't move them around. We can't give them inputs. We can't make them move or anything. We're going to do that next. And there's no other animations and things going on. The idle is just the only animation we do. So over the next videos, what we're going to look at doing is setting up a camera so we can see our character, setting up inputs so we can make them move and pass commands and inputs to them, and also looking at how we can do all the different animations so it kind of matches how we're moving around the world and what kind of animations we have available to us. But for now, that is the start of our Paper ZD character. Thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing to access more of my Unreal Engine content.